I'm going to prove that I can rendezvous with the space station I flew last episode, and just how important the SpaceX launch is for space flights. We launch here in 3, 2, 1, launch. What up, everybody? And just like that, we have a very simple rocket here. This is really just for the purpose of the rendezvous. This one, I did put together with a basic capsule. I did throw on a hitchhiker storage container, as well as an RCS fuel tank. One of the main pieces of this, however, is the photovoltaic cells. I do not want to run out of electrical charge. I have done it in the past. It is not something I have any interest in doing. And you will see, set as target, we are headed to the mobile processing system right now. It is in orbit just above us on more or less the same inclination, so it should make it pretty easy for us. And we are going to start maneuvering here a little bit. I do have a link for the previous video, which does show you that space station, what it is, why it is, what it does for me. It is surprisingly helpful, surprisingly important. We do not want to lose communication or connection with this. As well as, don't forget to like this video if this video is super helpful for you. This is going to show you how generally to rendezvous with an actual station in orbit, okay? So if you are having issues doing that, don't worry. Don't worry your pretty little heads. We are going to be doing that today, no issues. Now, if you do set it as target, you will see that the actual closest positions, well, they're really not that great, okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to make a separate orbit, and then we are going to get closer and closer. Super easy for us here. Maneuver, wonderful. We are setting to our maneuver node. This is taking a bit of delta V. I was hoping to be using a little bit less on this, but that is okay. Once we get up in orbit, it's maneuvers take, you know, maximum like 80 meters a second. It's really not that bad at all. So let's jump up here really quick. And you can see our inclination is not super amazing, so we are going to modify that ever so slightly to match it the best we can, eyeballing it generally with our actual space station. And we are going to modify that here as well. Okay, so we are burning now, full throttle. Beautiful. We are going to be staging here very shortly. And this, in terms of SpaceX and the Falcon 9, really is not that far off from what it is they are doing. Now, this one's not going to be as calculated. Again, I do like eyeballing things. That one's on me. Everything that goes wrong is, well, it's kind of my fault, but that's okay. We're going to make it here. Don't worry. It's going to be wonderful. So, as far as SpaceX goes, I am recording this on the 27th, and they have very recently notified that they did have to scrub the mission today. They will be attempting another reflight on Saturday. Which hopefully that one goes well. If it does, it is going to be a massive, absolutely massive milestone for not only the United States, but spaceflight in general, right? It'll be really the first time we've had a reusable system that is rapidly reusable, so you know, you don't have to go through a huge refurbishing process. And then even on top of that, the actual expenses for that type of flight, because you are essentially reusing the rocket without doing much outside of refueling, all of a sudden the cost per flight significantly reduces to you know, they're talking about theoretically an amount of $1,000 per kilogram, which, you know, they could probably even get lower than that. The more reuses, the better it ends up being. So we're looking at something that, quite frankly, is I mean, absolutely amazing. It truly and genuinely is. And if we can continue flying these rockets, all of a sudden, going to space becomes significantly less expensive, right? And now companies are going, okay, cool, I'm going to put a larger satellite in orbit. You know, I'm gonna put up this massive telescope that's going to give us a better view of distant galaxies, or we're going to put up better weather satellites to give us better information. It's gonna drastically change the way we do things. I certainly hope so, at least, especially with manned spaceflight. Okay, the milestone SpaceX is really going for here is, for the first time in 9 years, almost a full decade, it's essentially only been Russia doing manned space flights, and that's because after the space shuttle was decommissioned, well, the United States never really got back into it. Okay, so now that SpaceX is picking up that mantle, or in this case, proverbially and literally capturing that flag. The space shuttle last mission, they left a flag, an American flag, on the space station, International Space Station, and the next company or mission that would go to the space station from United States grounds, being a United States company, would grab that flag in a literal game of capture the flag and bring it back. It's a whole thing. So as long as the mission goes well, they will be doing that. Absolute massive milestone. It's going to change spaceflight as we know it. It truly will. We're going to be able to put up larger modules, launch more often. It's not going to be, once a month necessarily. It could easily be, once a week, once every couple days. They could do a full-on launch. Okay, so right now we don't really have a close approach to our mobile processing unit, our current space station. So we're going to set up the maneuver planner here, right? So fine-tune closest approach to target. We are going to set that to about 200, and we are going to select create node. Oh my gosh. What you doing, Big Chief? That looks terrible. Let's change our apoapsis here a little bit. That's funny. Okay, let's increase our periapsis. Let's get this a little bit better. Okay. Set our apoapsis here. Modify this a little bit. Should not be too bad. Okay. Periapsis. Interesting. Interesting. Let's try to maneuver this back. Okay. What do we have going on here? Okay, so apoapsis, beautiful. Okay, I do like that. We are going to set to the maneuver node here. We are going to make a burn to set our periapsis to be a similar distance here. I'm sorry, apoapsis, I meant to say, my bad. That is going to give us the ability to then fine-tune our orbit. If you do read the warning, orbit before course correction doesn't seem to approach target very closely. Planned course correction may be extreme. Recommend plotting an approximate intercept orbit and then plotting a course correction. In the case of that, it does make it a little bit difficult depending on the situation. We're going to see if we can get that a little bit better here. Burn. Drop down velocity. Beautiful. Perfect. Good enough. There we go. So, remove all nodes. We're going to press create node. Still a ways off. Let's see what we can do here. So, let's do this. Let's match velocities. No. Okay. So what can we do here? Okay, apoapsis. Let's see. Add maneuver. We need to get ourselves to a much better, more advantageous location. So what we're going to do is we are going to decrease. How many orbits would we have to do? Oh, that's not so bad. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Approximate intercept course, and we can move from there. Oh, that's good. That is good. Okay. Might be able to do apoapsis. Now, periapsis is the way to go. Okay, so set to maneuver node. We are going to do this nice and easy. We are going to unfurl our solar panels. We do not want to run out of any electrical charge here. That would be very dangerous for us. Perfect. There we go. Beautiful. Now, this is going to take a few orbits for us. Unlike SpaceX, it's not entirely planned on my end. I could calculate no issue, but that would take a lot more paperwork than anything. Not too interested in doing that at the moment. Okay, cool. Let's get this maneuver going. And then once we are on an intercept course, we can change our maneuver. And you see it's actually pretty solid already. Relative speed. I do not like the look at that. I may not have enough delta V. I do have enough delta V, but it's going to be a little bit on the dangerous side. Okay, we're going to be dropping down to about 300 meters a second, a little bit under delta V left, which isn't the best option. We can still deorbit with it, but it gets a little bit dangerous on the way in. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. Burning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, full burn. Perfect. In 0.1 meters a second. We are now, there we go, fine-tune closest approach, create and execute. Oh yeah, perfect. Oh yeah. Okay, so fine-tune closest approach, not really what we need to do. Let's have at the match velocities with target, we are going to create and execute. That is not true. It's not what I want to do either. Yeah, I should fine-tune closest approach. Let's get that down to about 20 meters. Why not? Create and execute. Perfect. Oh, yeah. And then we will have enough delta V to deorbit ourselves. Will be no issue here. Beautiful. I like it. We should be starting warp here. It is an automated system for this particular portion of it. Just like it is in real life, in essence, you're plugging in numbers, really nothing too crazy. Okay, we are time warping. I love that. Awesome. Okay. So why would I say SpaceX with the crewed mission is important? I would mostly say that because that really opens the door for significantly more complex missions than what we've been able to do before. Launching on the Russian, Soyuz missions, quite frankly, they are not great. Not great at all, to be perfectly honest. It works, but they are not capable of particularly impressive missions in complexity, if that makes sense. It becomes difficult to do increasingly complex missions because it's just such an aging system. Unlike SpaceX, where they have the reusability, they have the ability to essentially strap on 2 more boosters and get the heavy lift version with the Falcon Heavy. You can easily launch significantly larger, more complex satellites. Think of even with the Starlink project. Oh, you can actually see the station I have going over there. I like that. Match the velocities. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Nice. Nice. 200 meters a second. Can I deorbit? That's a very good question. I'd like to think I can. Eee. Oh, I sure can. Nice and easy. Beautiful. The only issue is we are still really far away from each other. Okay, fine-tune closest approach. Create node. Ooh, nice. Create and execute. Create and execute. Nice. Okay. Create and execute. Create and execute. There we go. Okay, cool. Cool. So that is going to get us within quite the short distance of the actual space station here. And then once we come in close proximity, what we're going to do is we're going to warp here. And we are now going to, once again, match velocities with targets. Make this super easy for us. We have plenty of RCS, not going to be an issue. We can do as many maneuvers as we want. And you can actually see it right there. Oh, what a beautiful sight. Oh, I like this approach, too. And even if we do use, we can drop down to about 120 meters a second delta V. We can always do aerobraking, bouncing off, essentially, the actual atmosphere itself, giving us a slower velocity every time. Makes it much easier. Wow, I love this. Okay. So, with that being said, crew report, not really much in the way of that. We could easily do an EVA. We could grab them from the actual orbiting station, this orbital research facility. They could just, at the moment, do a bit of a spacewalk. I don't have an actual, for better or worse, docking port on the current orbiting space station. We will have to deorbit this at some point. It does make it a little bit more on the difficult side again, because the actual system is controlled by a Kerbal. So we're going to have a bit of an issue with that in the future, but we will figure that one out. It's not going to be too bad for us. So what we are going to do is we are now going to deorbit ourselves. Bit of a lackluster mission, and we're not really getting any science specifically from this, but this does prove that we can rather simply intercept and dock with another spacecraft. So we can actually start putting together our equivalent of the International Space Station, right? And don't forget to subscribe, guys. This is giving you the knowledge on how to actually intercept an orbiting target and get in orbit with that target and dock with it. Okay. So if you do want to see things like that in the future, which I would. I love that type of stuff. I love it so much. Don't forget to subscribe. You're gonna get to see this stuff in the future. And if you want to see actually how I put this up in orbit to begin with, and what it is and why it does what it does, and why it's actually continuing even at this moment to give us more research points, check out the previous video in the description. It's super helpful for us. So, SAS, we are going to set retrograde. We are going to make ourselves a maneuver here. Add maneuver. We are going to drop our orbital velocity. Perfect. And we are going to essentially skim off the surface of the planet. It's going to be quite the interesting, very interesting to say the least, maneuver. Depending on what happens, I could actually do a full another rotation. And let's actually exit that. Let's do a node here really quick. Don't want to be entering on the dark side. That's not so much fun. Beautiful. Okay, so with that, we have plenty of electrical charge, I hope. Perfect. We are going to retract our delightful and handy photovoltaic cells. And we are ready here. 3, 2, 1, burn. No longer orbiting. We are entering whether or not we like it. We are going to stage in 3, 2, 1. Detached. Set retrograde. Moving real nice. Throttle down. We don't want to be wasting RCS if we don't have to. Not that we don't have plenty. We sure do. Awesome. Let's close the maneuver planner. And just like that, we are re-entering. Despite appearances, this is a significant amount of science, okay? When it comes to this, it takes a lot of processing power. It takes a lot of physical ability in terms of the option of intercepting a target. You do have to have the right resources and hardware available. And speaking of which, speaking of hardware, to launch a rocket, for example, like the Falcon 9, you need a pretty powerful computer hardware system, right? Logically. You need to calculate all these things and have such minute, constant maneuvering nodes all the time, in essence. So, take a look in the description below for the parts required for you to do the same thing I am right now. Specifically the processing unit. This game is pretty hard on the CPU, as you can imagine. It's calculating a lot of stuff all the time. So take a look in the description below. I have a whole list of my setup, actually. Pretty great setup. So, just like that, we are going to warp ahead a little bit to just above the atmosphere. There we go. Set retrograde. We are ready to enter real nice and easy. That's a nice area. Hold on, crew report. Hold on. No, nothing. Okay, I guess they don't really care about that. That's tough. Have Bill EVA for a moment. EVA report. Freaking nothing again. Bored. Alright, well, whatever. We are heating up. We are hitting the atmosphere like a stone skipping on the surface of the water. This, and you'll actually see our apoapsis decreasing quite quickly here. So, let's do some physical. So this, when it is between 1 and 4 times time warp, it is a physical warp. So if you do have a really large ship, it could cause issues. The other warp is an actual time warp. It stops the physics, essentially, of the game. But it does give you time, essentially, so you don't have to wait as long around. There we go. We are deorbiting here. Quite a nice deorbital trajectory. You see our ablative shield is getting hit pretty hard. Not that I need that much ablative material to begin with, but it does keep weight a little bit higher on the bottom side, as well as I got that monopropellant. What that does for me is it keeps the parachutes up top, and again, much like an arrow on re-entry, all of the heat hits this section instead of the capsule or anything else that I really do not want. And if I wanted, I could have had all of the Kerbals from the space station in here. Nice and simple. This does hold 4, and on the space station there's currently only 3. So, nice and easy. Nice and easy to say the least. So we have re-entered. Looks like we're going to land in some type of desert, which I do like the sound of. That could definitely get us some more science here. Review reports. Reset experiment. No, okay. Let's see. Do some more. Let's drop these chutes. Get down here. Okay, crew report. Ooh. We're flying over Kerbin's deserts. I like that. And crew report. Can we do crew report from one at a time? I got 2 crew. You know what? Transfer to there. There we go. Maybe I can do a second crew report. Crew report. Set. Okay, I like that though. That's actually really helpful. Having 2 separate capsules can do multiple crew reports. Just keep that just in case. Perfect. Crew report. Awesome. Okay, so, very, very, very slow descent. We do not want to break anything on impact. Oh my gosh, I'd be so upset. I can see if Bill can do an EVA. We're not moving very quickly. There we go. EVA report. Ooh, nice. Let's board really quick. Get some more science again. Let's do some more physics warp. So we know that term. I do have solar panels. We could have like a little research station out in the middle of nowhere too. You could just drive around the research station essentially and get some more research. Go. We are landing very shortly. And touchdown. Nice and tasty. Let's do one more EVA here. EVA report. I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here, was it? Probably not. Take surface sample. Ooh, long one. Lots of sand and rocks here. You're thankful that you've been in the climate-controlled environment because it sure looks hot out there. The sand is dry and loose, and it looks like you're going to take some effort to clean your gear afterwards, I'm sure. Although not as much time and effort as it would take to get the dust off of stuff from the moon, that's for sure. Recover vessel. I will see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Adios, guys. Bye.